Yellowstone's 4 upcoming spin-offs, ranked by how excited we are. There are plenty of Yellowstone stories to look forward to, even if the flagship series wrapped up Season 5. Taylor Sheridan's Dutton family exists not just in the screenwriter's Yellowstone series, but also in its offshoots, which include 1883 and 1923 so far. The prequels saturate the Dutton family tree in Yellowstone, comprising 7 generations of pioneers and ranchers. The screenwriter plans to add even more stories to his modern Western universe, including 4 spin-offs for viewers to enjoy that will expand the lore and drama of Yellowstone. The most fascinating part about the roster of Taylor Sheridan's upcoming TV shows is that many will occur in the present, adjacent to the timeline in the flagship. Sheridan's offshoots of the Dutton family have been anchored in the past so far, acting as period pieces that enhance the Dutton story. Still, 3 of the 4 upcoming Yellowstone series are slated to occur in the present, and each modern-day saga varies from the flagship enough to warrant exploration. Sheridan also has 1 more prequel lined up, and it could be the best Yellowstone installment yet. While the Texas spin-off has an exciting premise, Sheridan's Yellowstone 6666 spin-off is complicated to get excited about because there haven't been any solid updates. The series would star Jefferson White alongside Taylor Sheridan's Travis Wheatley. After Yellowstone Season 4 sets up the characters to work together, turning Jimmy into a proper cowboy. The 4 Sixes Ranch, 6666, in West Texas is the series' namesake, and Sheridan owns the ranch, where the spin-off will presumably shoot most of its scenes. Following the Yellowstone finale in December, a cautious update from Yellowstone executive producer Christina Voros came about the show when speaking with TV Line. Voros essentially couldn't say for sure whether Yellowstone spin-offs 6666 and 1944 were still in production, noting that Sheridan closed some doors in the finale while leaving others open. Regarding leaving doors open, Sheridan didn't close any on a Texas spin-off in Yellowstone Season 5, Part 2. To the contrary, presumed 6666 cast members, Jimmy Herdstrom and Travis Wheatley, appear throughout the back half of Season 5. There are also numerous references to the 4 Sixes Ranch, where the cowboys spend time in the Lone Star State. One of the most significant is the 4 Sixes vodka in Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 10, which was a direct nod to Sheridan's brand. While the report confirming a new Yellowstone offshoot starring Kelly Riley and Cole Hauser was exciting, it's hard to imagine how Beth and Rip's story will distinguish itself from the flagship. The report announced Beth and Rip's offshoot would share a lot of DNA with the Yellowstone flagship, including other familiar faces alongside Riley and Hauser's characters, and the Yellowstone moniker in the title. The details tie the story to the flagship more than any other spin-off. While the report confirming a new Yellowstone offshoot starring Kelly Riley and Cole Hauser was exciting, it's hard to imagine how Beth and Rip's story will distinguish itself from the flagship. The report announced Beth and Rip's offshoot would share a lot of DNA with the Yellowstone flagship, including other familiar faces alongside Riley and Hauser's characters, and the Yellowstone moniker in the title. The details tie the story to the flagship more than any other spin-off. While the report confirming a new Yellowstone offshoot starring Kelly Riley and Cole Hauser was exciting, it's hard to imagine how Beth and Rip's story will distinguish itself from the flagship. The report announced Beth and Rip's offshoot would share a lot of DNA with the Yellowstone flagship, including other familiar faces alongside Riley and Hauser's characters, and the Yellowstone moniker in the title. The details tie the story to the flagship more than any other spin-off. While the report confirming a new Yellowstone offshoot starring Kelly Riley and Cole Hauser was exciting, it's hard to imagine how Beth and Rip's story will distinguish itself from the flagship. The report announced Beth and Rip's offshoot would share a lot of DNA with the Yellowstone flagship, including other familiar faces alongside Riley and Hauser's characters, and the Yellowstone moniker in the title. The details tie the story to the flagship more than any other spinoff. While the report confirming a new Yellowstone offshoot starring Kelly Riley and Cole Hauser was exciting, it's hard to imagine how Beth and Rip's story will distinguish itself from the flagship. The report announced Beth and Rip's offshoot would share a lot of DNA with the Yellowstone flagship, including other familiar faces alongside Riley and Hauser's characters, and the Yellowstone moniker in the title. The details tie the story to the flagship more than any other spinoff. While the report confirming a new Yellowstone offshoot starring Kelly Riley and Cole Hauser was exciting, it's hard to imagine how Beth and Rip's story will distinguish itself from the flagship. The report announced Beth and Rip's offshoot would share a lot of DNA with the Yellowstone flagship, including other familiar faces alongside Riley and Hauser's characters, and the Yellowstone moniker in the title. The details tie the story to the flagship more than any other spinoff. While fans have been eagerly awaiting the expansion of the Yellowstone franchise, the spinoff set at the legendary 6666 Ranch, known as 4 Sixes, feels a bit more niche than the others. The 6666 Ranch, located in Texas, has a history that dates back to the late 19th century, and the show promises to focus on a group of ranchers and their way of life. Starring real-life cowboys and ranchers, it's expected to showcase an authentic, gritty look at the world of Texas cattle ranching. What makes this spinoff intriguing is its emphasis on the deep traditions of ranching and the ranch's historical significance. The Yellowstone series has always done a great job of blending contemporary issues with old-school cowboy culture, so it's interesting to think about how the show will incorporate that dynamic on a different kind of ranch. That being said, 6666 doesn't necessarily have the same immediate allure as some of the other spin-offs on this list. While the historical context and Texas backdrop have potential, this show may have a harder time grabbing the mainstream audience that's been captivated by the Yellowstone universe's high drama and heavy-hitting characters. However, the seasoned ranching world is one of the most authentic representations of America's Old West. And for fans of that lifestyle, this show could be a hidden gem. This spinoff will take us back in time, exploring the life of Bass Reeves, one of the first Black U.S. Marshals in the Western frontier. The show is expected to chronicle his life and career as he navigated the dangerous and lawless territory. Bass Reeves is a figure who has long captured the imagination of historians and pop culture fans, and his portrayal in this spinoff promises to bring something fresh and distinct to the Yellowstone world. The most exciting aspect of Bass Reeves is the rich historical backdrop. The Western genre has often struggled to accurately depict the lives of African American figures, and this show aims to rectify that. Reeves' story is one of justice, honor, and grit, and it could open up an entirely new way to view the wild, untamed frontier. However, the main concern here lies in the risk of oversaturation of the Western genre. While Yellowstone has brought new life to modern Westerns, a historical spin-off might not hold the same universal appeal. Still, Reeves' legendary life and the chance to showcase the American frontier through a different lens are enough to spark some genuine excitement for this series. If done right, this show has the potential to redefine the way we view the Old West. Though 1883 has already laid the groundwork for the Yellowstone spin-off universe, the Bass Reeves Chronicles promises to expand upon it, offering another glimpse into the past. This spin-off will tell the untold story of Bass Reeves, focusing on his time before he became a U.S. Marshal, and how his journey in the Old West shaped the man he became. While the first season of 1883 introduced us to a perilous journey toward the American frontier, this new iteration will likely dive deeper into the social and racial dynamics of the time, with a special focus on Bass' influence. The 1883 series captivated viewers by showcasing the rugged life of pioneers on the move, trying to carve out a future in a hostile land. This spin-off holds a similar promise, providing a unique mix of historical exploration and the same level of intense drama we've come to expect from Yellowstone. We're excited about this spin-off because of how it can explore the birth of the American West while addressing pertinent issues of race, inequality, and freedom. And since we've already seen the way 1883 emotionally invested its audience in characters' fates, it's easy to imagine how Bass Reeves could expand on that. There's a deep cultural and historical wealth to mine here, and if it's done correctly, it could stand as one of the most compelling spin-offs in the Yellowstone universe.